Hello and welcome to this very special interview here on Money Paathshaala. Today, we have someone who I personally very deeply admire. He's a veteran banker and he's also now can be called a veteran mutual fund expert. So, someone who has gone through two very key areas of financial services. He's been the person instrumental to a large measure in the growth of SBI Mutual Fund as India's largest mutual fund house. And in fact, every time I interview him, 1 lakh crore more has been added. So I think it's 7 lakh crore plus, I think, almost closing in on 8 lakh crore. DP Singh, who's the Deputy Managing Director and the Chief Business Officer at SBI Mutual Fund, someone who constantly is thinking to innovate. And today we are going to discuss some of those innovations. Thank you very much, sir. It's always a pleasure talking to you. SIPs, thanks to the efforts of the industry, has virtually become a household name today. But you've been talking about top-up SIP and the importance of that. I think, while it's good to start small when you have less money, but it's equally important to keep topping it up as your income keeps increasing. And this is more for the young people who are listening to you, because we keep telling people you can start with 500, but sometimes they forget that this is something 500 can become 50,000 also. So tell me a little, sir, about your thoughts and what is your philosophy around the importance of top-up SIP? How does it benefit an investor who just sticks to one amount versus someone who actually does a top-up?
No, thank you very much. It's a very, very pertinent question today. Because see what has happened when the country started this successful journey of SIPs. After this message of that mutual fund sahi hai and SIP is the best way of beating the rupee cost average, beating the inflation, and there's a rupee cost averaging. So this message is gone. But the right sizing of SIP message has not been conveyed. That is evident from the fact when I look at the average ticket size, in 2017-18, the average ticket size of the industry used to be 1800, 1900, which has moved only to 2300, 2400 in this much year, whereas the per capita income of Indians have more than doubled. So the people are not keeping pace with the growth, their own growth, and eventually inflation beating is fine. But if the rupee itself, the value itself is going down, unless and until you increase it with the increase of income, increase of salary, increase of cash flows in your hands, so then it will not serve the purpose for which we are putting it. So there's so many this is so we thought that like as an individual, if I have started my SIP of 10,000 rupees 10 years ago and still it is 10,000 rupees, then I'm not doing a right thing. Actually, what is required is I increase my this 10,000 every year by 10%. Had it been 10,000 to 20,000 today, will it pinch my pocket in a big way? The answer is no. It would have gone because today 10,000 has become my actual expense. It's like my, house rent, or it's like my, see any other charges which are there, which any fee which I'm paying for the month. If it is taken as a necessary expense and we increase it, our electricity bills, our other bills, if you see, have gone up three times, two times. I mean, I'm not talking about Delhi. Delhi is a exceptional thing, but but other places it has gone by two times, three times, right? So if that is the case, why not my SIPs should top up every year? As per my own capacity, if it is 10%, I mean, ideally it should be 10%. It could be 5%, it could be 15%, it could be some amount that the continuous same SIP will not enable me to meet my goals. That is the simple reason. And we know the first timers, if somebody is entering into the job area, generally it start with 5 lakhs, 6 lakhs, 7 lakhs, whatever salary is there. And it goes to, when it goes to 20 lakh, 30 lakh, 40 lakh, nobody knows, because that is the way the salaries are increasing, especially at the entry level. And that's a huge, area in over the pyramid. The people who started with 2,000 or 3,000 actually can afford to do it 10,000, 15,000 today. Because it's like uh, something a good EMI concept when you say that. And today, 10 years ago, 8 years ago, we used to say that people are splurging on the white goods, on the phones and this thing. That narrative is no more available. Today, one thing is there, the all the youngsters, all the first timers are actually putting money into SIP mode. Their new definition of savings is investing through SIP. That we have reached, which is a very, very good thing. But I think this step up or top up is something which we need to take it to the next level now. And we have to provide solutions. Like for our side, it's available on our app, on our website. You can, with the click of button, by doing a very, very easy journey, one can step up the SIP to any level. But percentage term, we have done it for the first time, and I am personally very, very passionate that every new SIP should have top up facility in its own. And somebody who doesn't want to do it and who doesn't feels that he will not be able to do it, he can have a top up of 0%. That's as good as not. So I'm really very, very passionate about it.
So, sir, just to, you wrote an article also recently and, you talked about a comparison. So would you have off the hand, I know that, these are not numbers but knowing someone like you probably would have them. Supposing a person does say a 5,000 rupee SIP. And if you were to say percentage you take for a calculation and take whatever duration, but between say somebody who is stuck only at 5,000 and somebody who's topping up, say, every month, every year by 10%, how much could the difference end up being?
Difference is with 10% top up for 5 years is as high as the net amount being 45 to 50% higher. If 5,000 will become, say, today after 5 years, becomes 4.5 lakhs. If it is 5,000, if it is topped up at 10% every year, then it is going to as high as 5.5 to 6 lakhs. In percentage terms, it's very, very high. Because every money is getting the CAGR returns. That's simple, because I'm not putting any number for the simple reason I don't want to put any sensitive number, because these are like dynamic numbers, right?
Yes, sure.
Whatever has happened during last 5 years may not happen in the next 5 years.
Absolutely.
That for consciously I'm not putting a number, but the difference is as high as 40 to 50%, keeping in view the benchmark returns of the last 5 years. So next 5 years, the benchmark returns could be similar, could be higher, could be little lower, but the difference is going to be almost minimum 40 to 50%.
Let's talk, sir, about another area that you have been very passionate about, and I think you were the first to flag it off as a very important tool. And I think still, unlike SIP, few people understand the importance of SWP. Now we read about even the pension regulator using that word, and increasingly people beginning to understand the importance of SWP, which is, of course, systematic withdrawal plan, which is when you want to draw down on your money. And earlier we thought it is something you use when you retire. But today, given the scenario where at any level of where you are, I mean, we've seen recently layoffs, and it could be nothing to do with what's going on in India. It could be a global layoff. And during that interim period, you may need to draw down on your savings. Many people are even at late ages turning entrepreneurs. So you may need to depend on your savings and draw down. So the reasons for drawing down are enormous now. And it's not just at 60 or 65. But can you tell us a little about why SWP is such an important tool in withdrawing your corpus when you need it?
See, simple reason. We, as in the life cycle, we have a accumulating stage where we accumulate our savings, where we reach a particular level. Then there's a stage where you need money for your sustenance or some other goals, not only sustenance, but other goals as well. So for that purpose, the kind of tax efficiency which SWP possesses becomes very, very important for us to do it. And wherever we have been able to educate, I'll give you a number. We have got more than 100,000 SWPs going on in our company. And out of those 100,000 SWPs, more than 45,000 is in one state. in one fund, which is our SBI Equity Hybrid Fund, which is there in the state of West Bengal and the Eastern Zone. Nobody else has been able, because this is just the messaging. And now I was looking at the number why we are getting the redemptions. But the redemption is happening because there are SWPs, right? And that's a good redemption to have. It's like a good and bad cholesterols. See, good cholesterol is, even if you have redemptions, it's fine because people have accumulated. They're happy investors. So coming back to the individuals, SWP is so important because it takes care of not only your personal goals, goals of your years and years also. And see, the beauty of mutual funds is that in the same folio you can have SIPs, you can have lump sum amount, you can have SWP, and all the goals are being done through one folio, which is not true for the banking account. For bank account, you have to have different saving bank accounts, different RD account, different fixed deposit, and you have to navigate between these two. Here you have nothing to do. In the same folio, today I am having a SIP of X amount, and same folio, I have a SWP for my parents and in this thing, which is going to their account. There's the same folio that SWP for my daughter, who is not here, who is studying. So it goes to her account. So, and then when there's another notion which is there that if I'm putting in money in SIPs, so if I've invested, then the money can be withdrawn only in the end. There's no part money which can be withdrawn. These are the basic fundas which people are not aware. Now, coming back to your question of SWP, SWP in my view is as important as SIP is, rather more, because that takes care of all your goals. SW for sustenance, SW for taking care of the needs of years and years through Bandhan SWP, which we have, and SWP for taking care of your monthly expenses or whatever is there, which you can have. In the same folio you can have. Whenever you have surplus money, it's like housing loan, like max gain, whenever you put money in that loan account and you can withdraw from there. Same way we can use the mutual fund folio for having SWP, SIPs, taking the partial money out, and then there is in the system we have built up. Whenever you withdraw, the system will tell you which is the money which you withdraw first, which will have the least capital gains. That alert also comes. We are becoming thanks to the technology, we are able to those kind of alerts also to the investors. I think this is something, the whole revolution has happened during the last 1 decade, and I'm amazed at the way it's helping the Indian savers. And savers and investors, there's a very thin line. And today, with the various tools like SIP, SWP, I think it's not only mutual fund sahi hai. Now we have to go to the next level. Mutual fund कितना सही है, mutual fund किसके लिए सही है, और mutual fund कब सही है. That the timing, the goal, and I mean your objective on that particular thing, everything should be built in that rather than just having one SIP or something. That will not serve the purpose. That will have some benefit, but that will not be 360-degree solution for yourself.
What is Mitra SIP that you have innovated with? I was going to ask you about Bandhan, but you've already mentioned. What is Mitra SIP?
Mitra SIP is like I said, this is a stage when you accumulate and a percentage of the calculation tells us this is simple maths. There's no innovation in this. Honestly speaking, we have just जिसको बोलते हैं कि एक सीधा साधा गणित है कि इतना आप इन्वेस्ट करते रहो, आपका इतना वैल्यू के हिसाब से इतना बन जाएगा 15 साल में. And there is an assumption is of the past performance of the benchmark or of the scheme. The remaining period you will be able to take care of it. Now, is it assured? The answer is no. It could be little higher, it could be little lower, but mota moti, what you call it will be able to, अगर 10,000 रुपए 15 साल तक जमा करवाते हो, तो अगले 15 साल तक आप उससे 1.5 गुना तक निकालते हो, तो एक लिटिल ट्वीकिंग है, नहीं से 15,000 का मतलब 15 का 14 भी हो सकता है, 13 भी हो सकता है, 15 का 17 18 भी हो सकता है. But equivalent amount and more you can withdraw, you can take care of your remaining life because the longevity going high. We need to save for more period. And why saying so in the Mitra SIP in whatever folio we are doing it, if I have got some bonus, some big money which is coming my way, I can also invest in that folio. It's not that this notion actually, Mr. Law, we have to convey to the investor, because I have seen such investors that don't know the basic fundas, that it is like, even if you are having Mitra SIP, you can put more money. If you are having Mitra SIP, you can pause that if you have some problem. If you have Mitra SIP, you can double it up, top it up, this also. When I am talking about top up SIP, Mitra SIP can also be topped up. If I have started for 10,000, it's not necessarily that I should continue with 10,000 for 15 years. I should top it up by 10% every year. Then the amount which I withdraw can be more than double also. Today we are talking about the straight way, right? And then we can, even Mitra SAP, we can have a smart Mitra SAP on my own. And this is simple maths, nothing else. And we are not doing any innovation. We are not putting, it's a pass-through industry. So we, whatever we do for the investor. Only thing is we have to look at the things with a different lens, and this will give you a very, very big. Mitra SAP is a wonderful tool to have. I mean, but mind it, one should not be carried away with the kind of calculations which are shown. Somebody is showing 15%, somebody is showing 20%. I can make it as sweet optically as I want by increasing the assumption. But the normal assumption should be, it should be 3 to 4% plus my normal rate, policy rate. Like today, if our policy rate is say around 6.5%, 7%, so we should be basically assuming around 10%, 10.5%. So that's the basic thing. But it can always be, as India growth stories getting unleashed, we may get much, much better return than that. But being conservative, 10 to 12% should be the return which we should look at.
Another area that you worked very tirelessly on was to make people aware about debt funds, because I remember when we spoke over the last few years several times, your point was that while, there is a perception that people think mutual fund is equity, whereas there is a huge category waiting out there. And since you've been a banker with SBI, so you have seen, a lot of the debt side of the world as well. With the recent tax changes that have now put, at least from a tax perspective, a pure debt mutual fund at par with an FD. And I'm asking you this question because, having been a banker, you would know better that FD is something that people understand in India, right? A debt mutual fund is something people, and I'm talking about masses now, I'm not talking about HNIs who've got people to advise them, but people understand FD, right? And if there is no tax incentive or benefit, if the returns are pretty much going to be the same for me, I'd rather be in an FD. Do you see that happening? And my second question is, what will be the alternative of the mutual fund industry? Because clearly, debt is important in anybody's portfolio. I mean, I don't think anyone should have 100% equity. So you need some amount of debt, whatever that number may be. So do you see, say, a balanced advantage fund, or do you see an arbitrage fund taking over that category where you continue to have a debt exposure, which gives stability to your portfolio? At the same time, you are still getting the tax benefits that an equity category fund gets.
No, I think it's a longish question, more longish reply to this, right?
Please.
So first thing first, the tax advantages being taken away is definitely a setback. But at the same time, as I say, there are two sides of the coin. I firmly believe that no product, whatsoever good it be, cannot continue to survive with the tax arbitrage being the center of the attention. So tax arbitrages are very tactical at the government level also. Sometimes government wants some directional money come to a particular asset class, they give the tax breaks and tax advantages, so that, and once they feel this is done with, we are done with this, we have met the objective, the tax the breaks whatever are given are taken away. This is always life cycle. And I look at it more positively. See, there are two concepts which we have to tell people when we say that debt funds and FDRs are alike. Yes, YTMs are alike, but the way the NAVs are calculated is not alike. If I have to value my FD on everyday basis, and if I have to declare NAV of my FDR, what I will do, I will just add the accrual of 7% for one day into that, and that will be my value. If it is at 7%, I will add 7%. But in case of mutual fund units, the securities which are there in that scheme are mark to market. Now, this mark to market is a jargon for a common man. This jargon needs to be broken. Today, if there is a unanimity in the market that the interest rates are likely to go down by, say, 100 basis point in next 1 year, any individual other than the money which is lying in FDR can definitely put money in a long duration fund, because he's going to get a lot of capital gain, because the NAV of mutual fund units will be calculated on the basis of rate of interest in the market, not on that security. If the interest rates are going down, the valuation of that security will go up. Just to put it in simple words, if the security is valuing 100 rupees today at the 7% interest, and tomorrow the interest rate comes down to 6.5%, the 7% coupon in any case has to come on this. But there will be, if the security is for 10 years, that 50 paisa into 10 years, 5% will be the capital gain for the security in the market, which will be put in NAV. See, earlier what was happening, since this was a 3-year period, everybody was keeping it for 3 years. Today, if I have to put my money in debt fund, I will definitely put in this long debt fund, because I am also of the view that the interest rates will come down by 100 basis point, and I'll have 6-7% capital gains. So my return will be 7% coupon plus 6% capital gain, 13%. Even if you have to pay tax as the same as I have to pay it on the FDR, I will go for debt mutual fund, and I'll take it out after 1 year when the markets are looking like that either the interest rates will go up or will remain stable. So that is one part. The debt funds, that this education, this dissemination of information will happen in a longer way. And I don't think that, see, debt funds will become unattractive. Only the class of people who are putting in these funds will become unattractive. We have seen it. Lots of big ultra HNIs have still put in money after 31st March also in debt funds to take the benefit of this. And this is always a cycle. It starts with corporate, go to ultra HNIs, then goes to the commoner like you and me. So then it starts. I think this is a transitional period. We will see a good money coming back, and this will always be cyclical. Unlike the equity funds, there will be an interest rate cycle where the interest rates are going down. At that point of time, the money will come in. So that is one part of it. Now, coming at the other part, before getting into the hybrid funds, balance advantage fund or money market fund, see, where are Indians putting money today? They are putting money in savings bank account. There's a better money market fund which is giving 6.5%, 6.5%, 7% with the same kind of liquidity. So it's always better to have a money market fund rather than having a saving bank. In 1 year FDR, today the rates are higher because the credit demand is more. So that's why for 1 year period, it's similar, right? If you put in 1 year period, your return on a debt fund, and if my duration is 1 year, your return on a debt fund or FDR will be similar. But once the credit demand goes down, the interest rates on fixed deposit goes down, this will also become attractive. So this is what the duration and which are at play. Short-term liquid fund is still giving 6.5%. The overnight fund are giving 5%. Money market funds are giving 6.5%, 7% return. These are very, very attractive classes where a lot of money can come in. Now moving to the hybrid category. Now the new tax laws say that wherever the equity portion is more than 35%, and we can still have the debt indexation benefit which was earlier there. So there are funds in category, like we have multi-asset fund, which will always keep 35% into equity assets, and remaining 65% will be on debt. And that 65% will keep on moving from long duration to short duration. We'll keep on doing it depending upon the interest rate calls in the market. As of now, we will be keeping in 10-year, 15-year paper so that we get the capital gain benefit. Once we are of the view that the interest rate cycle is over, now it is going to be stable or that, then we'll come to the short-term duration. So intention is to give a kicker by the 35%. But one thing is very clear, only because of the tax benefit, it should not be sold. The person who is putting money should be a person who is ready to take risk on 1/3 of his money, equity market risk. And equity market risk is a good risk to have. It's like a high-speed car and the slow-speed car. Nobody who doesn't want to be in a high-speed car. So that's the benefit. But it should be sold that way. And the minimum period should be 3 to 5 years. That's something which we look at it. Then the balance advantage fund is another category, which has the benefits of equity indexation, where we keep around 65% plus into the equity categories by putting in arbitrage and otherwise in equities, and then remaining 35-40% into debt instruments. And that is played in the same way. Either it is a multi-asset allocation or a dynamic bond fund or this fund. Everywhere we have the same view is there. The idea is how to create more and more returns for the investors. That there cannot be two different ways. It cannot happen that in multi-asset I'm keeping 15-year duration and the balance advantage fund I'll have 3-year duration. That will not happen. So that's how take the fund house view. So there is enough opportunities for making money for a layman. But I think coming back to the basics, there's a big niche who are yet to start SIPs. There's a big niche who are yet to start their journey into mutual fund. There's a big niche who have started their journey but putting money in one mutual fund only. So idea is to how to move forward, how to get all categories of fund there. The mutual funds are actually a quasi bank. The only one difference is there. That is that you cannot have the money across the counter. Whenever you need it, it will come to your account on T+1 basis. आज बोलोगे 3 महीने तक तो कल सुबह आपके अकाउंट में पैसा आएगा, बजाय के इसके कि चेक काट के बैंक में चले जाओ, सामने से पैसा दे देगा. That is the only difference. Otherwise, liquidity wise, mutual funds are similar. If you are in equity, you have to wait for 2 days. If you are in debt, you have to wait for only 1 day. Money will be there in the account. Maybe this can also change over a period of time. Efficiency may happen that you can have live money in their account by using the technology. That may happen. That's my wish that happens. But I said, sorry, longish answer, but this was required. This was
no. You always explain concepts extremely well, Mr. Singh. Wonderful talking to you as always. And I look forward to many more such conversations. And I wish you all the best. Maybe when we speak next, you would be touching 9 lakh crore, hopefully. And let's see, keep up, the energy that you bring to the table. Thank you very much for taking time out from your busy schedule. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.